I hate school. Those are the words my best friend said while his mom and mine were staging an intervention to prevent us from dropping out of college. His mom almost fainted. See, we were in college for no less than a year, and we were already thinking about dropping out. I thought to myself, look at all the hyper-successful people who dropped out of school. Look at Steve Jobs, Michael Dell, or Mark Zuckerberg. I thought being a college dropout would lead to my success story. So against my parents' advice, I dropped out of school and told myself, surely I will never go back. Immediately after dropping out of school, I started a business, which stood on one of the busiest streets in Miami. I told myself, I'm about to make a whole lot of money. Unfortunately, I did not have the business fundamentals right, so my business failed after a few months. I actually had to close the doors on my birthday. But I knew I still needed to make money. So I started working. I got a job, and I had my own car. I lived with my parents, so I had no major expenses. I was chilling. I was comfortable. So being in that position of comfort was good at the time, but remaining in that position of comfort for the next 5 to 10 years would have prevented me from reaching my true potential. So I decided I will move out of my parents' house and get uncomfortable, because the comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. And I knew I needed to grow. But I couldn't just move out of my parents' house, because I have Haitian parents. And the only 2 reasons to leave a Haitian parent's house are if you're getting married or if you're going to school. And I did not have a girlfriend at the time, so I had to go back to school as a pretext to move out. I moved from Miami to Orlando to attend Valencia College. During my career as a student, I had a series of revelations that completely changed how I view myself and how I view the world. I'm going to share 3 major revelations that I learned on the journey. My first revelation is a disciplined person always has time. Part of the reason why I dropped out of school, I had all of these ambitions and desires that I thought school was pulling me back from. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be free. And I felt if I was in school full time, then it would hinder me. When I went back to school, I was taking just enough classes to keep financial aid. Unfortunately, my grades suffered to the point where I was on academic probation for most of my time in college. But I wanted to be in business, network with people in the community, hone my communication skills, and I just got into a relationship, okay? So I wanted to spend some time with my new girlfriend. And I thought bad grades were a natural consequence of being busy. After I finally finished my associate's degree, my girlfriend convinced me to get my bachelor's. She said, we can't get married unless you have a bachelor's degree. So I quickly enrolled into Florida International University, and and I took a full load of classes. I was still extremely involved in the community, and to my surprise, I was also excelling in the classroom. I actually made the dean's list. I realized the problem wasn't the workload. The problem was I was not disciplined. You must prioritize your values and set clear goals and take actions that align with those goals. That's what it takes to be disciplined. My second revelation is I have the power to live the life that I want to live. That I can live the life that I love today. While still a student, I started writing my first book. And I started writing because of the deep revelation that every human has intrinsic worth and intrinsic value. That means the value we have is not based off of who we know, what car we drive, our zip code, or how much money we make. But our worth and value are locked into our personhood. As opposed to seeking validation and worthiness from the world, you already come validated and worthy. Now, I must confess, it took me a long time to write that book. I was about 90% finished for a while. So I made an executive decision that if I wanted to complete this book, I had to get uncomfortable and isolate myself from friends and family. So I decided to fly to Canada. And Canada probably wasn't the best choice given I hate the cold. And frankly, I didn't know anyone who lived there. I stayed in an Airbnb for the very first time in my life. So there I was in Canada, in the cold, in a stranger's house. And that stranger invited me to have dinner with him and some friends. I sat down at the dinner table next to a university professor. And it was my first time seeing a professor on such a personal level. We had a great conversation. And he invited me to sit in on his class. I accepted the invitation. The next day, I went to the university and I watched him teach. And the same exact way he was at the dinner table was the same way he expressed himself and engaged with his students in the classroom. I remember watching him teach and watching his students learn and seeing the interaction between the two. It was extremely inspirational. Afterward, he took me on a tour of Niagara Falls, Canada. And I felt awful because I took him so far away from his place of work, and I apologized profusely. And the professor said, "Oh, don't worry, Jeff. I have an office here in downtown. I'm a full-time business owner." I said, "You're a full-time business owner and a university professor?" He said, "Yes." And I said, "Wow." I realized two things. School shouldn't prevent me from being an entrepreneur. And I also realized the career I wanted to pursue, being a university professor. With that revelation, I finished writing my first book. Then I wrote a second book. I started an organization called Barbershop Speaks, where we engage in intelligent discussions inside barbershops and beauty salons. We believe that the barbershop is the community's classroom where everyone is both the teacher and the student. I ran for president of the student government and won. I pursued getting my master's degree. I continued to give paid speeches and sell books, all while a student. I learned that I can live the life I love today. My third revelation is there is power in telling your story with strength and without shame. It's not easy standing in front of the world and telling you I dropped out of college. I still feel the pain of my business failing after a few months. The fact that I went back to school, not because I realized the importance of education, but just to appease my parents, is nothing to be proud of. But here I am telling my story. Despite the mistakes and failures I made, I'm emboldened because I know I can walk through the fire and not be burned, that there is victory on the other side of defeat. As a college dropout, I tried hard to network and meet high-status people, but my efforts came up empty. As a student, I met United States senators and representatives, business moguls, celebrities, and millionaires. As a dropout, I never went on a plane or left my home state. As a student leader, I was flown to cities around the country to attend conferences and meet amazing student leaders. In my business, I never had $2,000 at any given time. But as president of the student government, my team and I oversaw a $20 million budget. My story makes me who I am, and I am here because I crossed the starting line. School did not prevent me from being an entrepreneur. Instead, throughout all the experiences I had, education helped enhance my entrepreneurial endeavors. What is your story? What is your story? Whether you are at the beginning of your journey or in the middle, regardless of your wins or losses, tell your story with strength and without shame. As fate would have it, after graduating with my master's degree, by God's grace, my mentor shared an opportunity to work at Florida Memorial University, where I currently stand as a full-time professor. He was impressed by my involvement in school, the books that I've written, my organization, Barbershop Speaks. The fact that I did all that while pursuing a master's degree, he saw my passion for education. In life, you are the designer. You are the architect. School is your canvas. Your career is your canvas. But your life is your design. You are the artist and the art. Your imagination is your paintbrush. Your life is your masterpiece. Focus on creating the life you love. Thank you.